And welcome back, folks, to Star Wars, Becoming a Rock in a Hard Place. Where as we left our group last time, they were fleeing for their lives from Ord Mantell. They had encountered a very terrifying apparition of a large black armored figure with a red lightsaber in a casino who seemed to have no regard whatsoever for the lives of the patrons, as he used his ability with the Force to literally rip tables out of the floor and shove them to the side as he was heading towards his goal, a young man who, for some reason, Haish had decided to slap in the back of the head, which resulted in a young man's Wookiee friend getting very defensive, and our friend Glalt and the Wookiee coming to blows. Tendrick, of course, trying to maintain peace, as he generally did, wasn't quite right there. He was gambling at the time. Hey, who can blame the guy? And they barely escaped that situation with their lives. As they left, they saw a broken down ship that Paige, knowing enough about starships, looked at and thought, how in the world is that thing even flying? Do they have life support? As it landed and picked up the other people as they were fleeing, Haish was mesmerized by the dancing light of a lightsaber just out of view. Apparently, either deflecting blaster bolts or cutting down troopers was hard to say exactly because he didn't have a direct view. But as they lifted off and the other ship lifted off, that armored black figure, which we knew was the dread Lord Darth Vader, stepped out upon the deck there and stared angrily, which of course in the armor he's always angry, at this retreating starship, seemingly distracting him from our crew. As they were fleeing and Imperial ships were swarming around the area, Haish did something, well, some might say drastic, some may say
miraculous.
It was miraculous. Some may say he just did what any good Force user would do and trusted the Force. And he closed his eyes and allowed his fingers to play across the navigacomputer and program in a course. As they jumped to light speed, he looked down and realized that their course that was set was to Zelos 2, a place on the other side of the galaxy. Unfortunately for our friends, the way to get there is fraught with danger. They began here on Ord Mantell. They had to follow one of the tradeways to over to Doran, where they took out a flight speed and just changed course. The problem is it then led them into the core worlds. To right there. Right there. Coruscant, which, as you can see, all roads lead to Coruscant. They spent a hair-raising 4 hours in the Coruscant system in the outer areas, trying to get over to the Corellian Run, which they were able to successfully get to because no fleet, no matter how large, is capable of vetting every single ship that comes in and out of the Coruscant system. As a matter of fact, when they arrived, their navigacomputers was updated, and what had been listed as Coruscant in their database suddenly changed to Imperial Center, the new name of the place, by the way, as of the Emperor taking over. That just shows you how long it had been since that ship had been to the core worlds. In fact, much of the tradeways and the navigacomputer was updating was based on most of the 4 hours because they couldn't jump again until it updated. But once it updated, they were able to once again take to hyperspace. But as they neared Corellia, their reactor mass was getting low. They were going to have to stop for fuel. But oddly enough, Corellia is listed now in the navigacomputer as being an independent system. It is not listed as an imperial system. Thus, as our brave heroes jump out of hyperspace at the edge of the Corellia system, what do we see of Haish as he's for the first time laying his eyes on this fabled system?
My eyes, not eyes, in my Miraluka head.
Well, yes, that was a pun.
Yes. His first words are, "What means this term, independent system?" And may or may not nonchalantly have opened the intercom to the rest of the ship, kind of arcing the question to my crewmates. Independent. I'll believe it when I see it.
As you hear independent system over the comms there, Tendrick, what do we see you doing at the moment?
Oh, we see Tendrick doing what Tendrick always wants to do. He's tinkering with another droid. More in the case, he's actually trying to figure out what chassis he's going to stick this shiny new combat core he got into. But yeah, he'll hear independent system and his head will kind of tilt up and he'll raise an eyebrow that, of course, no one else can see. And he'll just give a chuckle and he'll go back over the intercom and it's like, well, I mean, that's better than it being one side or the other. At least we have a little bit of a chance to hide.
It'll also give you some practice with your mother tongue, dear brother. This is the Corellia system.
One thing that may actually perk up your ears at hearing the Corellia system there, Tendrick, is Corellia is known as a system that has a very high level of engineering. Anything from starship parts, which they have a very extensive shipyard, and their ships are known across the galaxy as being very, very good, very reliable. All the way down to droids. They actually create some of the best astromech droids in the galaxy as well. Not to mention attachments and modifications to droids. At least that's what you've heard as far as like the ads and such you guys see in the holo is Corellia seems like the place to be for any kind of stuff like that.
Where would you like me to set us down, brother dear?
I guess wherever's going to suit our needs most. I assume we probably need food.
I could eat.
Yeah, your supplies are definitely
always
low.
eat.
So, hey, look, it's the other side of Corellia.
I know.
Yeah, I'm on the dark side here on mine.
See, I'm being kind of anal about this art.
So, as you are heading in system, Leith, who I'm assuming is in the co-pilot seat, as he typically is,
as he is wont to be,
operating sensors and things like that, looks over to Haish and says, "Master Haish, we're being held by, looks like a flight of TIE fighters, sir."
TIEs. Put his hood up quick and kind of pull it down. Yeah, Leith, put him on the screen.
You see the image of the grainy image, of course, of a TIE pilot. And
before anyone says anything, can I see a rank insignia on that flight suit?
Yeah, it's lieutenant.
Good morning, sir. Morning, afternoon.
Yes, our sensors are having problems locking in on your transponder. Please hold position and await Imperial Customs frigate. It should be here within the hour.
He'll kind of a little bit more over dramatic, kind of sell it, flick, and then we'll slow the hell down.
With the also with that voice, even though you have the vocoder from the helmet and stuff like that, the voice sounds young and not 100% really sure of himself.
Trooper, if you don't mind Mike asking, how old are you?
That's not important. My age isn't an issue here. Just hold position there. Actually, shut down your engines.
Shut them down.
Yes.
Well, why don't?
Okay.
How about this? Where's your frigate at? I will meet them en route.
It's en route now. Just hold position. Leith looks over to you and says, "Sir, I'm seeing two other ships approaching.
Who are they?
Starfighters." He as he's literally going to pull up the information for you, you see this hollow shimmer, and suddenly it's cut in half, and there's two figures there. The other person's wearing a flight suit that's green and white, with an open face mask, or open start, or helmet with open face mask with a vision shield over the eyes, and he says, "Hey, hey there, Lieutenant. Aren't you a little bit outside of your jurisdiction?" And the Lieutenant says, "You're still in the Empire, aren't you?" He says, "Yeah, but son, you're in Corellia. You're not supposed to be stopping ships on the Corellian system. That's our job." And as he says that, you see two white and green X-wings basically swoop past the front of your ship and sort of interpose you.
Leith, heat that gun up.
Yes, sir. So,
brother, I need you up here.
What trouble did you cause now?
I didn't do anything. You gotta see this.
As Tendrick is coming up, I assume you want me on the gun, because you only ever call me up if you need me on the gun.
I wouldn't ask you for anything else.
All right.
I'm not slowing down anymore. We're cruising speed, not combat speed, but
that's fine. Well, these two X-wings sort of take up position between you and the TIE fighters, and they cut the discussion to you. But you see these TIE fighters sort of come in. They're in formation, but these two X-wings are, and they're not. The X-wings, obviously, their combat configuration is with the wings open. Wings are not currently open.
Oh.
But as you're flying along there for about maybe 30 seconds or so, suddenly both X-wings X-foils open up. When they do, you see the TIE fighters basically break off.
That's right. You better run.
Leith looks over at you and says, "Sir, we're being held by the well, according to this, it says it's Corellian security."
That lead X-wing, yeah, patch him through.
He said, "Yes, unidentified ship. This is Corellian security.
Good morning.
We do understand that some ships may have a need outside of the Corellian system to be running without transponder or with their transponder damaged. I assume that your transponder got damaged in some freak accident on the hyperspace lanes on the way here. Can I assume that?"
Okay. Yeah, you can assume that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to hold you out here in the middle of nowhere, because that ship looks like it's been through a lot at some point.
We haven't been taking care of ourselves. It's been a odd 3 weeks, let me tell you.
That ship looks like it's been not taken care of really well for more than 3 weeks. I mean, yeah, it's been as polished will help a little bit, but
hey, come on now, don't.
I'm not. Trust me, I've seen stuff flying around here that I am surprised that thing isn't just exposed to vacuum. Like those ties back there.
Well, but, if we can find us a bar to sit down in, maybe I can tell you about the junk heap that we left in Ord Mantell, huh? You just tell me where you want me to sit down, and we'll go.
Well, let's see here. What's closest, Hobby? He says and there's obviously a conversation off to the side. And he says, "Okay, I can look at that one. Is it still open?" He says. And
I hope it's open.
He's obviously having a conversation.
I'm talking to him, but he's talking to somebody else.
Yeah. He's like, it's sort of one of those, like, he's talking, but he's probably talking to his co-pilot or his wingman.
Oh, yeah.
He says, "Okay, well, let's see here. What do we have nearby?"
Tinder could go back to the cargo bay at this point.
There's the Gus Trading Intersystem Market Station's not too far from here. It's got a fueling depot. It's in orbit over Corellia itself. I'd recommend there. So follow me in. So that these Imperial flyboys don't try to take a pot shot at you. They're basically using the outer system here as a training area for their new recruits. So, yeah.
Yeah, you got to have hair down there and up here to talk to me that way. He was
I
real
agree.
mouthy. Come on now.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that young lieutenant, though, he's going to be dangerous one of these days. Right now, yeah, he's just wet behind the ears. So, yeah, just follow us in, and they actually take a position in front of you, and he cuts the column.
I'll fall in with their lead.
Okay. It takes you about an hour of cruising to get in the inner system of Corellia, and as I said, you have this beautiful image of Corellia below you. You're actually on the dark side of the planet. The light side of the planet's over there, over next to Asia over there. But this station is actually over the night side right now. It's a fairly standard market station. Basically considered like several concentric rings stacked on top of each other. But it looks like it's actually seen its better days too. You're able to, you're eased into the flight pattern by the Corset guys who send you one or more message back to you and say that they're going to turn you over to flight control here and just don't blow anything up while you're on the station. Ha ha ha.
Oh, come on.
So, yeah.
Look at
and you got it into a docking berth there. It's actually, it might make you feel a little bit odd because as you're coming into this docking berth, there's a good section of the hull that looks patched up, and the Durastone on the outside looks blackened as if maybe by like a fire or intense heat at some point in the past. But you're basically let it, where you sit down actually looks decent. If is well cared for, if a bit old. And as the shields pop up to restore the bay to atmosphere, it's actually old enough that it doesn't have passable atmospheric shields. You have to actually land and then raise them. Yeah, you're talking stuff that's like 100 years old maybe. And this is in Corellia of all places. You get a message saying that the bay will be pressurized in approximately 30 seconds. Prepare to disembark and meet the harbor master at the bottom of your gangway.
Brother, don't open the front door here yet. Well, ooh. What the hell? Where the hell did they put us? This thing's an antique. It's gonna fall. Did you see the hole in the side of this? Here of all places. They are your people, brother.
Yeah, well, hopefully they have a good reason for it. But yeah, it did kind of hurt. That's why they go back to work. I didn't want to look at it anymore.
She'll turn off the intercom and walk down into the like the living room lounge area and throw a glance over to Yane.
She looks a bit worried at the moment.
When was the last time you've been here, Mother?
Corellia? Yes. It was maybe the very beginning of the Clone Wars. It's been quite some time.
Well, that was odd. They're using this as a training ground for their new pilots.
Well,
in the Empire.
Corellia has always had a bit of an independent streak.
Wow.
So, and it wouldn't surprise me if they had a training base somewhere in this system. I mean, Corellia is very well known for its pilots. So they may be recruiting pilots from within Corellia for the Imperial Navy. I'm willing to bet they actually are. I would if I had a choice. If I had a choice, I definitely would. But Galalt's not feeling well. I had the medical droid go in and check on him, and it says he has some kind of it's a virus, but it's not dangerous to us.
Is it harmful to his species?
he should recover in time, but the well, the medical droid has sedated him for the time being.
Poor devil.
Is putting some medications into his system to hopefully get this virus taken care of as fast as possible. But he'll be down at least, possibly at least for the rest of the day, maybe longer. We're not sure exactly.
Well, Tindrick and I are going to have a look around, and I'm going to take Tindrick to the bazaar here. Would you watch this place?
I will definitely watch the place. Understand though that Corellia is not like Dantooine or Mantell. It's people tend this place has some very, very smart individuals, but it's also always been well known for sort of skirting the edge of the wall, but being just rebellious enough to not conform to anything you expect. So be careful.
Eyes open, and we have to be on our toes then. All right.
Eyes open and ears open.
I will watch over my dear brother then.
Okay. So you're gonna meet as you get to the gangway and you see down there's a Celestin standing there with a data pad, patiently waiting, wearing a looks like mechanic's overalls. There's a couple of spots of grease on the outside of it and a tool belt hanging around its waist.
Harbor Master.
But yep, Harbor Master. How long are you gonna stay?
As long as it takes. Kind of look at Tindrick for this one.
The Celestin looks up and says, "Do you need repairs?"
Just need refilled.
You just need to have your expendables filled up and okay, waste management dealt with and basic maintenance overview.
Yes, please.
Make sure you don't have anything that's going to blow up. Okay, all right. He types a few things in there. I'll just put you down and say you're gonna. He stops pausing for a minute. He looks up at you. He says, "Are you sure about that?" Looks up at the ship with sort of a skeptical look in his eyes. I might be able to. I mean, I got a couple of repair bots I can bring out and, start getting in, like, see what we can do. But okay, all right. He holds out the pad to Hayes, who apparently seems to be in command since,
it is his ship.
Actually, yeah. And it's a bill.
A bill.
3,000 for docking fees, refueling, basic maintenance.
I cock an eyebrow at this Celestin. 3,000 credits just to park.
Well, you're going to fill this thing up. That's a lot of fuel. Fuel's not cheap anymore.
I'm going to hand the receipt to Tindrick and be like, you kind of let this, do you see this shit? Look on my face.
Hold on.
Right.
It said this lesson sort of sits there and taps his foot. I know it's fine. He sort of taps his foot and crosses his arms.
All right. 23 on a bargain check.
Excellent.
Okay. What are you trying to bargain with?
Tinder's going to look at him, say, make it 1,500. You can use my repair droids.
Huh. He said 23?
Yeah, I got 23 on a bargain.
He looks at you and he says, make it 2. And if there's any additional expendables that need to be put in your ship, I'll let your droids take care of that. But I had to pay my supervisors and pay for the fuel. And that stuff's not cheap.
Yeah, but
especially not with the Empire these days.
That's why I was taking the labor costs of the droids off your hands.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. 2,000 is about what it's going to cost you for the fuel alone, almost.
Which I'll look at haste. 2K work for you.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll eat this one. And I'll pay him.
Actually, he says, just a moment. He says, what kind of droids do you have?
That's Tindrick's personal information. I'm not gonna say anything.
No, well, since I'm allowing him to use them, he's gonna find out eventually anyway. So they're MK maintenance.
Okay, and there's two. You said you had two of them, right? That's what I told you.
Two of them. Yeah.
Okay, they come out and start doing the process there. He looks over and says, MK series. You don't see much many of them around anymore. They're reliable as all get out. I'll tell you what. He looks over at Hayes before he actually keys the deal. Says, I'll take one of those and give you 5,000 back.
No.
Does that work?
Hold on. Do I know roughly how much one of these things is worth?
Yeah. Now, generally, if you're buying one on the open market, they usually run between 10 and 11,000 credits a piece. That's generally, though, if they're fairly new.
Right. These are not.
These are not.
Of course. It costs 11 grand according to the scavenger guide.
So if he's doing basically, he's offering you basically with the fuel 7.
Your droids, I am loath to part with some of our equipment, as you know me, brother.
Right. But like at the same token, Tindrick's thinking, I basically made these out of the scrap pile.
Don't say that out loud.
I know. I just had Tindrick's thinking it.
All right. Never mind then.
Okay. He reaches out and shakes your hand and says, done. Grabs the deal, types in a few codes, holds it out for Tindrick, and it shows basically it's 7,000 less 2,000 for fuel and maintenance to you.
Tindrick will do whatever he needs to with it.
Yeah, basically just tap your comm link to it, and it transfers the credits to you.
Yep.
He says, all right. He points over to one that's better looking of the two. Says, I want that one.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So it's going to cost you 500 to use my droid, though. He sort of grins. He sort of grins at that.
Really?
My face or the?
No. Yeah. When you guys look up, is after he says that, you can see a sort of a solicited grin. Basically, it's hard to see because they have the flaps over the sides. They're basically olfactory sensory organs. But it's definitely an amused Celestin, sort of as a ha ha ha.
You're paying him for that one. I just paid for the fuel.
No, we just got paid for the fuel.
Well,
yeah. So anyway, it's just come on. What's 500 credits between friends? And I'll tell you what. I'll also for that give you some information. So, because obviously, I mean, you don't look like you're from around here, and besides, we don't see Nubians here very often at all. Not anymore.
All right. What kind of information do you have for us?
Well, I mean, what do you want to know? I mean, you're here to just get fuel, or are you looking for something else? Cargo, maybe?
Some supplies, sundries.
Okay.
I'm in the market for a good blaster rifle, but
Okay. I might be able to hook you up with somebody. Um,
somebody who's not going to scalp us.
well, I'll set you up with somebody who's not going to turn you over to Corsac, if that's what you mean. Here, he actually pulls out an old school pad and a pen and writes information on a piece of paper. Rips off and hands it to you. He says, head over to the go in here into the end of the corridors there and turn right. Go past the construction area that was the old fuel depot. And just past that, you'll see a bar called Jagged's Lament. Go in there and ask for Zena.
Zena. All right.
Zena, Z-E-N-A. Zena. So she can get you set up with whatever you might happen to need. With not many questions asked, but of course that does cost you, obviously.
Does she deal in droids too, or no?
She deals in a little bit of everything.
Oh, that's fine then.
She knows plenty of people that deal in all kinds of stuff.
And your name was?
Oh, my name's Zim. XIM. Zim. Yeah.
Thanks, Zim. And the name of the security officer that escorted us to this bay, I didn't get his name when we were off-world, but he had a partner today named Hobby.
Ah, yeah, that duo there. Yeah, that is Hobby and what the heck is his name? Hold on just a second.
You don't get to see him very often.
Yeah, I don't get to see him very often. I don't remember what his name is. I know Hobby though. Hobby comes here all the time. He's a sweet kid.
Would you point us in the direction? I'd like to, of those two, I'd like to speak with one of them. Or both.
Okay.
Or
I mean,
tell
if you want to talk
them,
to Corsac, that's fine.
Are they Corsac? Oh.
Yeah, those two, yeah.
Well.
Corsac. I mean, they're flying Corsac X-Wings. They better be Corsac. If they're not, they're going to want to get arrested.
Oh, that's what that green pinstripe was on the side for.
That's right. That's Wes and Hobby.
Would you send a message to Wes? I'd like to speak with him. The owner of the Nubian that just dropped by. Would like to speak with him. That's all.
Okay, I'll send him the information. So, as he heads back over, he's sort of talking to Corsac.
It's Haish, by the way.
Okay, Haish. He didn't know a damn thing about, kind of saying control might get into. He started saying this stuff under his breath as he's walking back over to his office. And
brother dear, we're about to have some excitement on our trip here. Let's find Zena and be about our business.
Okay.
I could eat.
Okay.
I could eat as well.
Yeah. So as you pass through the hatch into the personnel corridors of this station, as you turn to the right, sure enough, less than maybe 30 meters up, there's a profusion of warning tape and looks like pieces of bulkhead that have been sort of riveted over blast holes and stuff like that, probably to make the place habitable. As you head by, you see there's a lot on the actual bulkheads. There's little messages. We'll miss you. Thank you for your sacrifice. All kinds of different things like that. Basically, obviously, whatever happened here, probably someone died, and these are sort of like tributes to the person that died.
Is there any foot traffic here?
Not really. As you get past this area, yeah, you see some foot traffic sort of moving towards this one open area.
I'd like to see about flagging down possibly a Corellian lady walking
Well,
by. And I'll actually practice my own Corellian. He doesn't speak it very well, but
Corellians basically speak basic, so.
Oh, I know, but Haish has a very thick Miralukis accent.
Okay.
So he's just gonna sound weird no matter what he tries. Madam, what is this? We've just landed. What happened here recently? And he'll just kind of indicate those memorials.
Oh, that was the Antilles Fueling Depot.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, a couple of years back, the Lone Star Pirates had basically attacked the place, the station here. And as they were leaving, they had landed with the idea they were going to refuel their ship. And as they left, they intentionally left their fuel lines connected so that it started a fire. The Jagged Antilles, basically, him and his wife sacrificed their life to protect the rest of the station.
The owners of
the fuel depot that was right there. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, that's what all the tributes and stuff are about.
Well,
I hear their son actually was on comms with them when it happened.
Oh, that's got to be a horrible thing.
Oh yeah.
Is there a candle nearby, or can I do something?
Well, there's welded to one of the bulkheads is a little tray, and there's all these pieces of chalk. And it seems the tribute they're doing here is basically you write a message.
Haish will write in Miralukis their alphabet. Thank you, and Haish was here.
Okay. All right. So
he'll actually pause, set the chalk down, and he'll take about a step away, and he'll be like, "Wait a second." He'll shoot a look at Tindrick, and he'll just smile, go back and write again, "May the force be with you."
Okay.
And he'll set the chalk down.
Okay.
Very proud of himself. He'll just walk away.
Your senses are drawn to a scribble not too far away from yours.
Mm-hmm.
Because that may the force be with you, and you see that spelled out over further over, and make me actually both of you may have actually heard of this name. Make me knowledge checks.
Ooh, knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. 15.
Okay. See what Tindrick got there.
$16.
All right. So you both the name when you see it brings back a memory. You were both young in the temple. And this was when you were sort of, like 7, 8 years old type age. Mm. You weren't even coming to the point yet where you're going to be up to, learning more than the basics of Master Yoda. And the Clone Wars had really sort of just begun when there was a demonstration at the temple of this Jedi who was the best way you could say was he was a commando. He was a master of stealth using the Force, and he had come to demonstrate some of these techniques to the council because apparently his tactics were drawing some eyes, and the thought that maybe they weren't necessarily of the light side, if you will, because of the amount of stealth he was using. And it was almost to the point that using the Force for assassination. So there was a debate going back and forth. But both of you remember this fellow because he had a very stern demeanor And I mean, even more so than Master Windu and some of the other more hardened Jedi Masters. This fellow was Master Ram Kota. And you happen to see that name, Ram Kota. And it just says, may the force be with you, Ram Kota. And just looking at it, you can, and Hayes can specifically tell, this might just be maybe a week old. There's still a residual, almost force imprint on it. That's why your eyes are drawn to it.
Hayes will kind of like instinctively like just reach out and like put his like two of his fingers possibly on like
roll sense.
Oh, sense. Okay. Sense. 14.
You get the feeling as soon as you touch that, your hand goes cold. Not cold like you just touched like a really cold spot, or maybe this thing is exposed to a vacuum behind it, but it's a cold emotional feeling. It's almost like you just touched, like you may have just barely brushed someone's mind who has effectively shut down emotionally.
I'm gonna try and reach out, and I'll just kind of just mutter the words, I feel you here.
All right.
You probably don't remember me, but can I use concentration for this?
Do you have not for a force power, unfortunately?
Not for force, okay.
Well, that's
for regular using a force skill for a force power. Oh, excuse me, that's silly.
But do you have projected telepathy? Have you developed that yet?
I am working towards it. That's my goal.
Oh, in that case, go ahead and roll that. As I said, you can always, if you want to add points to, you can always spend character points and add a die for character point you spend.
Sure. I only have 3 left. So what is projected telepathy is control and sense?
It is, I believe it is sense and alter.
Is it? Oh, it's sense and alter.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Receptive telepathy is control and sense.
That's receiving.
That's receiving.
Not sending. Oh, it is. It is two different. Okay. Alter will be. I will use 1 character point for that. Oh my. Alter will be 16 if I'm doing that properly. I hope so. And I will use 2 left, so I'll have 3 total 0 character points left. Makes sense. Uh, 15 again. I think 15 and 15 and 16.
Okay.
What did I say?
So you're able to reach out, and as I say, as you reach out, you sense something there, but you can't get any read on it at all. It's like you've basically put your hand on a bare wall. You know the wall's there, the darkness.
Okay. They hear me, they're just not picking up the phone. Or don't I know?
Well, you don't know exactly. Usually if you're reaching out for something that's not there, it's like grasping at air.
Right.
This is like you're reaching out, grasping at air in the darkness, where you, like say, if you were actually blind and you're looking for something, and suddenly, boom, your hand touches a wall. You know something's there.
So in Haish's mind, it's like, oh, you're there. You're just not responding, because that's more of a reaction than he's got from anybody trying to do this.
Tendrick, while you're off watching him do this, roll me a sense roll real quick.
We're not drawing a crowd, are we? This is kind of a walkway here. Okay.
No, they're not drawing a crowd at all.
All right, good.
So people are this is like someone sitting there and like looking at the memorial, reading things, and maybe looking at names is pretty common.
Oh, okay, so we're not a sideshow
Yeah.
any busybodies.
No, you're not standing out or anything.
That's what I'm. Also
13, by the way.
13.
Okay, you feel watched. Just all of a sudden, after H touches this, he's doing the sign thing. You reach up and he touches one of the deals, where someone's written something on there, and like just a split second later, you suddenly feel very like someone's looking directly at you.
Brother, we need you.
Yes.
I feel uneasy.
How uneasy? We've felt uneasy since we left Antoine. Describe the feeling to me.
Watched uneasy.
Hmm.
And now that you're still open to what you're doing before, but now you can feel it, H. You start now once you pulled yourself back from that reaching out, you feel like eyes are on you.
He'll just kind of smirk a little defiantly and looking at the script, and he's not speaking to anyone in particular. And he'll just say, "You'll come and find us if you want to talk. Let's find that pub. I'm hungry."
You walk down a little bit past this area there, and the corridor opens up a bit, and it becomes more like a promenade. And on each side of the promenade, there are different shops in mostly open air areas. Basically, think of an old school mall.
Oh,
that's sort of what it feels like. Along the center of the thing are there's plants and such growing that are and water circulating to help keep the atmosphere humidified and help with the oxygen and whatnot. There's even down a little further, you actually hear the sounds of birds. Above you is the roof is a sheet of plasteel, transparent steel, so you can actually see out, looking down on Corellia itself as you look up. It's actually a beautiful sight. Not too far along though, you see the bar that was mentioned to you, Jagged's Lament.
Are we seeing dawn on?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're basically seeing this image right here.
The sunrise. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Hey, she's gonna stop and admire that before going into the Jagged Lament.
Okay.
Hey, she doesn't get to meditate and relax nearly as often, so this is quite pretty. He's gonna look at.
Yeah, the in your eyes, the planet's a jewel. It's just sort of sitting there glowing with all the life energy on it. Mm-hmm. It's like a very healthy ecosystem down there.
Oh.
So unlike Ord Mantell didn't look very healthy. This one though, you can tell there's human activity, but the majority of the landmass and the sea looks to be pretty well free of pollution, which is sort of a surprise. You get a message back from your mom, by the way, that says that no, she's fine.
Oh, right. Mom doesn't want any takeaway, brother.
Actually, you actually get a beep on your comm. Actually,
after that, it through to my throat mic.
Okay, it's your mom. She's actually there is something you can find for me if you can find any.
Name it.
It's something it's something I haven't had in a long time.
Wow.
It's called Rishkate.
Mother, I know that you used to be a handmaiden to Her Majesty. This isn't something that I need to go and speak to the ruling family of Corellia.
Oh no. It's a pastry. It's like it's a cake basically, but it's a the last time I had it was we were on Corellia and they were having a festival, and there were street vendors selling them.
I will try and find these Rishkates for you.
Yeah, they have like nuts and some kind of fruit in them, and they're absolutely delicious.
All right, then. We're about to go into a restaurant. I'll see what they can find.
All right. Okay, so you walk into this place, and it's a it's more of a bar really than a restaurant. They have a menu up on the back of different food items that they serve, but it's set like a bar, and there are several tables where there are patrons sitting, apparently playing something that Tedrick recognizes as sabacc. That seems to be a very common game to be playing. Oddly enough, the majority of the people in here are Duros.
Oh, I don't like those people. Brother dear. I'll lean over and kind of whisper into Tindrick's ear. Can you see if you can rob some of them for me? I'm not good with the cards. I only... And I'd like you to rob some of them. If we have time, of course.
I always have time for a game.
Oh, well, I will find this Zena, and you get a game going with them, and I'll come find you. Deal?
Okay.
I'll
Don't
ask
get
her.
yourself into trouble, please.
You don't get yourself into trouble. Look at those bastards. They kill you as soon as look at you. Now, I will say, though, if you can find a Bothan, we need a friend. I like Bothans. Conniving bastards after my own heart. And he'll just smile winningly at his brother.
Okay. You do notice that you've been noticed by the people around you. They look up, see you, go back to what they were doing.
Hey, she'll just kind of like nonchalantly like wave anybody who looks over. I'll walk over to the bartender and order something light. Obviously alcoholic, but something light.
Okay. You say bring me something light?
Light, yes.
Okay.
H doesn't want to get shit faced.
The bartender turns around and pulls out a glass, puts it on the bar, and reaches under the bar and pulls out a bottle of a honey-colored liquor. And he pours you about 2 fingers, and then drops some ice into it and says, "Here, try this."
It's not poisonous for one of my kind, is it?
Oh, no, it shouldn't be. Okay.
All right, then. And before he'll pick it up and just kind of, he'll smell it. And if I may, he'll lower his voice. I'd like to speak to Zena if I can. And I'll take a sip.
Okay. It is smooth.
Oh.
It actually has a very a slight nutty flavor to it, but it goes down like water, and then the warmth sort of follows it down maybe a second later. This stuff is dangerous for drinking, as in you have the feeling that if you were to drink this stuff, you could get really used to it.
Right.
It's not like the rot gut you'd probably stole a sip of back on Dantooine.
Oh, yeah, no.
This is refined liquor, very refined liquor.
He'll just smile and say, "Oh, I'll have one more of these." And what's been going on these days? I saw a memorial earlier. We've had a couple of deaths in the community. I was stopped by some very green TIE pilots. What's been going on the past couple?
Oh yeah, you ran to one of those patrols.
Oh, he was funny. As soon as Corsac showed up, opened their X coils. They like the way fish scatter on a reef when a shark shows up. Oh.
Yeah, they knew they didn't have the experience to deal with even a green Corsac pilot.
Corsac's local law now.
Oh yeah, Corellian security.
Okay.
They're the law enforcement arm of the Corellian system. Yeah.
He'll she'll point with his chin to his younger brother. That Corellian over there is my younger brother. We've just come back home for a brief visit.
Oh, well, I hope you have a pleasant trip, a pleasant visit. I mean, it's Corellia is Corellia. We've always been sort of independent, and with this whole emperor thing going on, I was actually surprised. The guy's an older Corellian, by the way. He says I was expecting us to expecting him to come in and do like everywhere else, but the dictat, he apparently negotiated a pretty good deal with old Palpatine.
Well, that sounds all right then. My brother and I are simply making our way in this galaxy. We're law-abiding and want to stay away from both, because you know how both entities nowadays can be rather aggressive.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. You don't want to get any imperial entanglements, and sometimes, the opposite can be just as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So, but be careful with your friend over there. I wouldn't. As you look over, Tendrick, are you going to be sitting down to one of the tables? He says,
Yes.
He said, unless he's an experienced sabacc player, you might give him a warning about that table.
Oh, all right.
So Tendrick, as you sit down at the table, there are 3 Duros there. They look up at you for a moment. You play sabacc, human?
I do. I'd like to think I'm a fair hand at it.
Okay. Well, throw your ante in, and we'll deal you in the next hand here. So we'll just do straight gambling rolls for this. By the way, I do all the fancy stuff.
Hayes will come over just as Tendrick sits down. He'll put a hand on his shoulder, and he'll put the spare drink that he got down.
Mm-hmm.
I've already paid, obviously, so you tell me what in. And he'll just kind of go to the Duros. Is like, this is my younger brother. He can be confident, but please don't rough him up. And he'll.
Oh, don't worry. No.
Don't. Hey,
this is a friendly game. Yeah, we're not gonna cause any problems here. No.
And I'm smiling. If I need to make a persuade or
yes,
fucking lie because I'm trying to help the hustle here.
Yeah.
Is gambling something you can use concentration with or magnify senses with?
Yes. Oh. Yes, you can.
Ooh. What do you want me to roll, Keith?
Just roll me it's under perception.
Oh, okay.
So all your social stuff is under perception.
Oh, okay. 16 for the hustle.
Okay. So, as you're saying this thing, one of the Duros looks up and says, "It's fine. We'll take good care of him. Don't worry. Young humans need to learn sabacc and get out in the world, out in the galaxy and such.
Oh,
we'll teach him good.
We'll show him some dirty tricks, would you?
If you insist.
First you tell him not to rough me up, then you say for him to teach me dirty tricks. Make up your mind, brother.
I don't want the other two sort of laugh. Up, but I want if
let me play.
Gonna...
You go.
All right.
Go drink. Let me play.
This is. Tendrick knows this is all part of the fucking show. Like, oh well, don't rough him up, but teach him some fucking dirty fighting here, and then he'll kind of lean on his brother's shoulder, leave the drink there, and what I'll do is I'll actually pat one of the Duros on the back, just like very, very, not invasively, but kind of like gently, and walk off, see if I can find this Zena.
Okay.
Leave that.
Okay. Okay. So the fellow who you stand across from that was talking to Hayes, he says, nice to meet you. I'm Gall. What call you?
Heard, I'm Tendrick.
Tendrick. Well, these are my associates here, Ellen, and he points to one to the left, and he said, "That's Cud." He says, "You two brothers, you traveling?"
Yep. Decided for a quick trip back home. Haven't been here in a while.
Oh, okay. Well, when did you leave? He's doing the cards as he's speaking.
Yeah. Oh, many years ago. It was family issues, unfortunately.
Like so many are. So yeah. we Duro get a bit of travel lust. Make your gambling roll, by the way.
Yep.
Actually make a control roll first, then make your gambling roll if you succeed your control.
Yeah. Magnify senses gives me 2 dice to perception.
Yes.
Concentration gives me 4 dice in general, but
to a specific skill.
Right. Am I able to use both of them?
No, not at the same time.
Okay. You can get the concentration to go off.
Yep.
With that. 18.
Okay, you're able to get the concentration off, so you get the plus 4 dice to your gambling.
9 dice.
Yeah.
37.
All right, you're able to read him as he's you're able to read the other Duro, even though you've probably never actually met a Duro. You're finding them fairly easy to read. You're able to get a little bit with that concentration, maybe you're able to get a hint of their surface thoughts or whatever. And you just get the feeling of that you need to bet up this round. So,
now Tindrick would have been in enough. He hasn't been enough gambling halls, but he's been gambling enough that he knows not to do the whole I'm going to be a cocky ass and raise and kind of like push it. But he'll definitely raise where he needs to.
Okay. So as he's dealing the cards out and you get your hands there, he says, "Yeah, us Duro, we had this wanderlust. We went up all over the place. Been here, been there. Where are you coming from?"
Originally, Dan Toon, actually.
Ah, okay. I thought you were from Corellia.
Told you, had to leave. Remember, family problems.
Oh, so you've been spending some time on Dan Toon. Okay, I got you. I got confused there. Sorry about that. So Cud here, he was Cud here. He was born on Duro. Me and Ellen over here, we were actually born on a spaceship. So it's actually more common for a Duro to be born on a spaceship than it is to be born on planet side. As that hand comes to an end, you actually find yourself winning that hand. And you make yourself an additional 120 credits off of that one. And then the deal goes to the left, which will go from Gal to Cud. So, and they ante up there. Hey,
so have you
I overheard your brother.
Oh, sorry. I was. Never mind.
Go ahead.
Talk to Tindrick.
Well, go ahead. He was going to ask you about your brother.
Go
ahead. What were you gonna say?
He was just going to talk to him and be like, "So, have you guys ever been to Duro? I've never been to Duro, so I have no idea what that place is like."
Well, yeah, we've been to Duro. Duro's it's an old world. We were one of the first spacefaring species out here in the galaxy. There's archaeological sites on there that have starports going back, 30,000, standard years. Back to the early days before the Republic even existed. It's an interesting place, but it's a place that all Duro really want to leave. Everything else is just more interesting. The whole planet's gray. The plants are gray. The earth, the soil's gray. The sky's gray. It's just boring. I mean, look at us. And they sort of laugh. They're all gray. So that's their skin tone.
Joke at their own expense,
go ahead and make
your speak.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and make your gambling roll. Okay. He says, "So is that your Nubian I saw flying in here?"
38 that time? Yeah.
Okay. Haven't seen Nubian in these parts in a long time.
That's what we were told when we docked.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not real common around here. I mean, mostly you get Corellian ships because, hey, you wouldn't have a Corellian ship if you're in Corellia.
Right.
You know, would you consider selling that antique?
Would I consider what?
Selling that antique.
No,
I
unfortunately,
might be able to actually get you a good price for it. Get something.
That holds great sentimental value to my brother. To us both, but mostly to my brother.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
No, that is in no way, shape, or form on the table.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that some families get attached to a ship like that, and they'll fly it till it basically leaves them stranded somewhere between suns, and then but hey, there's worse ways to go, I suppose.
Right. We'll ride it till it falls apart, then I'll cobble it back together, and we'll ride some more.
Okay. So you're the mechanic? You're the engineer of the ship?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Okay. You win that hand too, by the way. Another 125 credits that time. You got someone to bid up it a little bit. So, and I'll back off of that when you go over to H real quick. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, no matter what happens on this next hand with the rolls, Kendrick will actually lose.
Okay. That's fine.
That way it's not that whole building, winning, Yeah, you're trying to have fun, not run the table.
Sometimes you gotta lose a couple hands to keep them going. Oh yeah. So yeah, basically sort of small talk at the table that you guys are gambling. We move over to H there, back over at the bar. As you sit down, the bartender comes over and he says, "So, what do you want with Zena?"
I'm in the market for a few droids, a good blaster rifle, and possibly some sundries.
Okay. Yeah. He looks you up and down. So, who told you about Zena? Where'd you hear about him?
Well, a Celestin down at the docks.
Yeah. He'll expect his payment. Okay. So I'll tell you what, come here to the end of the bar. And he walks down to the end of the bar and
if I can catch Tindrick's eyes as I'm moving, I'll just be like,
okay. Yeah, he seems to be
if I'm confident in Tindrick's position to let okay.
Oh yeah. This place seems pretty safe. He moves you down to the end of the bar where it's a little bit darker and further away from the main door. And he says, "I'm Zena, and I can maybe do some business for you. What kind of droids are you looking for?"
I have in my possession some droid parts I'd like to put together for a security droid, probably a multi-purpose device with security, ship aid, that sort of thing.
Oh, so basically what you're looking for is okay, I got you. Well, first thing you need is a Dedicore.
Oh, well, we have that.
Oh, okay. That's the hard part. Then I guess it really depends on what kind of upgrades you want to do to basic chassis and stuff like that. Then, so you're looking for reasonable stuff, or are you not necessarily worried about what happens if you get caught with it?
I would prefer something reasonable, but I would like to have a look at what you have, and I'll weigh the cost and the threat. Okay. How about that?
That sounds like a possible idea. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Go ahead and I'll order you some food like you haven't eaten in a while. You and your friend have some fun, and I'll ask around real quick, and I'll be in touch. You're in the Nubian, right?
Oh yeah, that's us. And we're gonna be really hard to find. very
Yeah.
hard to find.
Yeah. Extremely hard to find in a Nubian. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah,
if
I
I
don't know
could
who
get
would,
like a small box of Riscates, if or point me in the
Riscate?
direction. Just point me in the direction of somebody who makes good ones, like
I can get you some of that.
someone's babushka's recipe, that sort of thing.
I've got some. Don't worry. I can take care of you there.
All right.
Yeah, my sister makes it.
All right. Well,
He goes back and he hands you a basically like a loaf. Think of like a loaf of bread. It's a good sized little loaf wrapped in some kind of plastic material. He puts that up on the bar, and he says, "You and your brother should eat too. By the way, be careful with those duros over there. They're mostly harmless, except to your purse."
My little brother is pretty safe, but I warned him. I'm confident in his abilities.
Okay. So back over to Tendrick. Go ahead and give me another roll there, my friend, for your gambling.
$40.
40, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Are you gonna win or lose this hand?
This is the one I was going to lose on. Well,
okay.
He's going to lose, but he's not going to like lose on purpose.
Yeah, it's difficult to, because you get a good hand, and you literally have to discard a card that was a good card.
Yeah.
To keep yourself from winning this hand. You're having literally the luck of the Irish, if you will, or not really the Irish, because they're the Irish in Star Wars. Luck of the Corellians, let's call it that. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and, if you don't mind, use that last roll for a few hands, if you will. You actually wind up finding yourself breaking even. Win a couple of hands, lose a couple of hands. And you're only really ahead those first two hands. The one fellow that let me see, here he is. Gall. The other two don't really talk much. Gall seems to be the chatty one. And after you start getting into the actual game and you lose a couple hands and win a couple hands, he starts sort of really focusing on the game. The chatter starts to fall off. It's almost as if he's surprised by something. It's hard to read Duro expressions, though. So he's either surprised or he's amused, or it's hard to tell exactly. So
this young human knows how to actually play the game.
Yeah. So finally, after about 3 or 4 hands, he comes out and says, I'll tell you what, this round, he looks at the other two, says, let's up the stakes a little bit. He throws in double the ante. What do you think? You in for it?
Sure. We'll do that.
Okay. All right. He deals the cards. I'll let you make another roll if you want.
I'm actually going to swap from using concentration to using magnify senses. I'm going to tell you why. Because Tendrick, because he notices like the demeanor changed, and now the stakes are being raised. He's not an idiot.
Right.
So now instead of using the concentration or whatnot to look for like their tells and stuff, he's actually trying to hear and see more for them trying to cheat him.
Okay.
Like he's focusing more on, them cheating versus, okay, I know they have a really good hand.
Okay. All right.
Because usually when someone says, oh, let's up the stakes, that means they're going to pull some bullshit.
So as you recall, the way that sabacc works is you get cards. These are hollow cards, and there is the table in front of you actually has areas where you can lay a card down in one area and it locks it. But there is between hands a randomizing factor that can make your cards change that you actually have in your hand. The only ones that stay the same are the ones in the locked area. And basically, unless you're basically calling, you never put all of your cards in the locked area.
Right.
So you basically get dealt 5 cards. You wind up at the very beginning with 3 good cards, three good major arcana cards, if you will.
30 on the gambling check, by the way.
Basically, okay. And the as the randomizer goes around, you're looking for possible anything glitching out, and everything looks pretty legit. Your cards change in your hand, and you come up with what's called a true sabacc, which is basically all 5 of the face cards, if you will. So, hey, I'm sure you call at that point. At this point, it's bid up a little bit.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You're looking about 300 credits on the table at the moment. Okay, so you drop your sabacc on the table, and the 2 of the Duros they sort of shake their head, but El Gal over there just gets a smile on his face and says, "That's a pretty good hand." He drops his card. He has what's called a fool's array, which is basically all of his cards added together, because you have said one set of cards are positive, one set of cards are negative. His hand comes to absolute 0, which is a fool's array, and it's actually the highest hand you can have. It seems, to what you can tell, to be completely legitimate. So, and he reaches over and pulls the credits to his side, and he says, "That was a good one. Now you're actually down a few credits."
Yeah.
Because I said you've been evening out, but those first 2 was you got about 300. Now you're actually down about 10, 15 credits.
Yeah, it was just the first one. It might have just been luck.
Okay, yeah. So they deal him out again. So I'll bounce back from that over to Haish. So Haish, you're sitting there at the table with your rich cake. You got your drink. It is absolutely delicious.
Oh, no wonder Mom wants one of these.
It has think of it. I don't know if you've ever had cinnamon nut bread before.
Oh, yeah.
But basically, it's a very rich cinnamon nut bread. And yeah, it's moist, and it's almost brownie consistency. So it's, yeah, exactly. And it actually fills you up very, very quickly, which is sort of a surprise. This thing is packed with nutrients. As you're sitting here with this, you feel a person sidle up next to you.
Good evening. Without looking up.
Okay. You hear, "Fancy seeing you here," and the voice is familiar, but not from anything recent. Back on Dantooine.
Hang on. He'll take a few moments. This is gonna.
A metal mask.
What's that?
No.
Oh,
I swear to God, if you see half a metal mask.
No. Is it a male or female voice?
It's a male voice.
It's a male voice. Okay, this is gonna
go
over a few seconds, but Haish will just kind of like go through like his life of like, who the hell are you, before he'll turn around.
Because the fact that it's out of place, and you weren't expecting to hear the voice, it does take you a moment to recognize it. When you look up and see him, you definitely recognize him. It's not someone you ever expected to see again. Back when you were living on Dantooine, at that small little trading post that you would go to, and that one girl would flirt with the both of you, and you both thought she was the most beautiful thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
There was a man that actually ran a small vehicle repair shop there by the name of Fallon. And I mean, you probably with Tendrick probably got parts from him occasionally. You probably dealt with him a few times, but as you look up, it's Fallon. Fallon from Dantooine.
Haish's face will light up. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I thought maybe you guys might have gotten caught up in that whole Imperial thing.
Oh,
they came in with the ties and just leveled the trading post.
No, we left a few minutes afterwards.
Yeah, place was definitely getting a little too hot.
How's your daughter doing these days?
Well, she didn't make it.
Oh.
And he gets a really, really sad look on his face.
Haish is just kind of like this expression on his face of, oh, shit.
Yeah, he breathes in, lets it out, and you could almost feel the anger behind it. He says, but
he's not upset with
I'm
me.
Not gonna let her
he's upset with the situation.
He says, but I'm not going to let it. I'm not going to let her death be forgotten. I can tell you that.
Of course.
How in the galaxy did you wind up on Corellia?
Well, as you know, Tindruk, this pinky pointing over to the Duros table. Tindruk's from here.
Yeah. I could have swore you boys grew up on Dantooine, though, didn't you?
Yes. I'm from elsewhere. Tindruk is Corellian by birth, but we lived on Dantooine.
Okay. Yeah. So, how's your mom?
She's doing well.
Oh, really?
She had considered just simply retiring to Dantooine for a while, and after that, although when the abundance of blaster rifles and tanks showed up, she changed her mind very quickly, as one would want to do.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, that's basically what I went up doing me is I went up getting off of Dantooine for various reasons. Yeah, I actually came here because I have some people I know here. So
how are they?
I'd be really happy to introduce you. Huh? What's that?
How are your friends doing?
They're actually doing pretty good right now. These friends are.
Oh, well, that's good.
They have a similar need to deal with the people that caused my daughter's death.
All right. Well, I have an appointment to keep. I have to sit here and take care of Tindruk. I will pass your regards off to Mum. And where can I find you? Are you permanently living here now?
Well, not permanently. I'm in and out of here quite a bit, but Zena did say that you're looking to sell some droids.
I'm looking to purchase some droid parts.
Some droid parts. Yeah.
I wouldn't be purchasing those droid parts from you, would I?
Possibly.
Well, then
contacted about it. Happy coincidence.
No, the galaxy is a lot smaller than we thought.
They say the Force works in mysterious ways.
It does, but not to give out too much information, because information's very sensitive nowadays with the current political climate.
Oh yeah.
I am out in the galaxy looking for my aunt.
Okay.
My mother's sister.
Okay.
So we are chasing down leads. I don't want to burden you with any more information. I don't want to give out because so you don't know who's listening.
He sort of looks at you for a moment and smiles a little bit and says, I might actually know somebody who can help you with that too.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Well, if I can see, if as I'm talking to him and I'm kind of like keeping an eye, my senses are over there with Tindrick, but I'm my body language is here. If I can catch Tindrick's eye, for just even a moment, and he'll actually see who the hell we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, familiar face, and
yeah, Tindrick, with your perceptions enhanced as you are, you actually hear the change in your brother's voice in the background, and when
I'll
you look
say
up,
it's a lot more positive now. He's certainly less early.
Yeah, it's something
kind of odd.
Yeah. Let's say you look up and you see him sitting there, and next to him is Fallon, the mechanic in the settlement back on Dantooine. That, I mean, last you heard, these TIE fighters were lighting that place up. So.
Yeah, no, like Tindrick will just do the whole, finger salute, head nod thing because he's in the middle of the game. But
as you do the Duros, all three look over at him too and say, "Oh, friend of yours."
Used to get vehicle parts from him back on Dantooine.
Oh yeah, I did hear old Fallon come from Dantooine recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's he leans forward and says he's dangerous. He's involved with some people that, and the Duros are getting sort of quiet about it. He said he's involved with some people that are of have a very rebellious nature, if you know what I mean.
I got you.
Yeah, the kind of rebellious nature that can get you sent to Kessel.
Yeah.
So be careful dealing with him too much. The Duro sort of leans back and he makes his roll. But basically for the hand there.
So Fallon,
32.
What have you been up to
32?
these days? I'm very concerned, and it hurts me. I cannot imagine the loss in your family, but I my condolences. I was kind of sweet on her for a while, but she liked Tindrick better.
Oh yeah. She actually mentioned Tindrick more than once. Now, I've been I've hooked up with a group here that's running security for a trade organization.
Yeah, off world, I had the pleasure of speaking with Wes and Hobby, and they scared off some TIE pilots. Oh, you should have been there. Oh, it warmed me. I loved seeing them run.
Yeah, those boys probably wouldn't have. They probably wouldn't have actually fired on the TIEs because, well, we're really not supposed to. But I can tell you for a fact they'd like to.
Oh,
Tindrick, you actually won that time about 70 credits. So, but it's like you had him on the hook for a little bit, like he was going to start bidding up, and then he folded, and you actually went off of a fold. He says, yeah, Haisha, I really want to introduce you to a couple of my compatriots. They can probably help you out with those droid parts you're talking about. Maybe get you some information about where your aunt might be. So.
All right. If it starts with a Z and ends with an S followed by the number 2, if it doesn't, I don't want to hear about Fallon. I'm not a man to be trifled with.
Yeah, I think you definitely want to talk to these friends of mine.
Yeah, I think I might do.
'Cause if you're
Tindruk,
talking about what I think
dear
you're talking
brother,
about.
Fallon and I are going to go for a walk. You want to come meet us at a where?
Why don't you and your brother come with you both at the same time?
Well,
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to. Means over teases. I don't want to say where we're going.
Well, finish your game and let's be off.
All right.
So you basically wind up 60 at the end of all that. So
okay. Tindrick will, when this hand's out over, he'll stand up and he'll give a slight bow and he'll thank the 3 Duros for the game. It was quite fun. I'll admit.
So you're a heck of a player, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sometimes the only thing to do on Dantooine is fix things and gamble. So I mean,
I understand. I'll be keeping my eyes out for people who say they're from Dantooine as he looks over at Fallon. As I said, be careful about that dangerous people. Yeah.
Tindrick will actually put the 60 credits that he is up back on the table, and he will say, I'm assuming they're all male.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll say, gentlemen, drinks are on me. You guys have a good night.
All right. So, and they smile their little smiles. Their mouths are smaller than humans, and not about the drinks. As you stand up there, Fallon and Haish come walking over, and Fallon says, "Okay, follow me." And he actually, as he walks out, throws the hood of his. He's actually wearing. Tell you how he's wearing a hood with clothing, and throws it up over his head, so it's harder to recognize him. So I'm sure Haish does the same because he always throws his head up.
Oh yeah. I'm a wanted species.
Oh yeah. He leads you out into the open area outside the place. And as you're walking through, one of the things that you notice, every place you've been, which really is just Orbentel, any public area, you've seen Imperial soldiers. You're not seeing Imperial soldiers. You're also seeing a more diverse mix of species than you've been seeing. Ord Mantell, basically, if you saw non-humans, they were generally in either like servant type roles, or they were, working some kind of a manual labor type thing, or basically they were sort of in the background. They weren't just walking around enjoying the sights. They were generally there because they had to, because of whatever they were doing work-wise. Maybe as bodyguards in some cases. Here, you're seeing a pretty diverse mix of species just milling about like regular people. It's a bit odd.
I certainly like this Festival of Nations going on, Fallon.
It's Corellia. Corellia has always been like this.
Good.
Yeah, it causes some. The Imperial Moff is a bit. He tries to crack down on the freedoms of non-human species quite a bit, but generally we just blow him off because what's he going to do?
You can't do much, do you?
Well, they need us. Specifically they need us. We're the primary manufacturer of the Empire's hyperdrives. Without us, what are they going to do? Round Kuwait? That's a great way to get yourself standing between the stars. But so yeah, Corellia's got a lot more leeway than some of the other systems I've heard of. Few I've seen. He leads you guys through the throng and such to a nondescript maintenance hatch off to one side, and he sort of looks around and goes over and keys a code into it, and it pops open, and he motions you guys to follow him in.
Before we go in, this is starting to be a little sketch. As soon as he keys this in, he probably walks past me to go inside. I'm going to grab his sleeve, and I'm going to be like, "All right, Fallon, we go way back."
Yeah, we do.
Don't.
I watched you boys grow up. I wouldn't lead you into anything that's going to cause you harm. And he looks you dead into where your eyes would be, and over to Tendrick, and he says, "Besides, the force is with us."
I may trust you, but if there are anybody in there that I shouldn't trust, we're not going in there.
I can tell you this. I'm about to introduce you to someone who means a lot to me that I thought was dead. That I found out wasn't. And he may have information about Mistress Jade. And he says, Mistress Jade.
Oh, shit. I push him in. Like, we're like, okay. we're not fucking around anymore. We're going.
As you get off of the main area and that maintenance patch closes and he hears it sealed, he says, okay, good. We're now out of earshot. And he turns and starts walking sort of slowly down this back corridor. It's fairly wide. It's wide enough for droids and stuff to move through.
Fallon.
This is more like where the...
Can I take my hood off?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The security systems around here have been rerouted. They don't actually see anything. So, yeah, I've watched you boys since you were little.
He can now see the adult Miraluka that I am.
Oh, yeah, he already knew you were Miraluka. He's on
he was the other human that knew. Okay, there was like a count of like 5 people on that planet who knew.
Yeah. Well, because he had such connections with you guys through Tendrick, he actually probably taught Tendrick a lot of the mechanical stuff that he knows. And the few things that you know about things, he probably taught you a few things as well. He also used to like to watch you do your workout.
So he knows that I'm a mystic. Okay, shit. All right.
He was the father we didn't have, basically.
Right. He was he was sort of he basically come in and check on you guys pretty regularly, about once a week or so, sometimes a little bit longer, so he was fairly close to your mother, to Yane. They were fairly good friends, actually. And he said, as he's walking through, he says, "Yeah, I always thought you boys would. Well, I hoped you wouldn't have to grow up and be hunted, but it looks like the Empire's the Inquisitors finally caught up with you after long enough."
Oh, I will tell you about the metal-faced man that we had to deal with on Ord Mantell when we're done with this meeting. At this point, I'll actually kind of...
Yeah. He sort of laughs at that. He says, "I'm familiar with him."
Hayes will actually be a lot more... Actually, probably more comfortable. He'll actually let his lightsaber be out in the open for once. Both of them.
Yeah. He says, "That's Tremaine."
Oh, the Inquisitor?
Yes.
Oh.
Inquisitor Tremaine.
I want to put my boots on the good side of his face.
Me too.
Hopefully I'll get a chance here in the next couple months.
He's the one who ordered the strike on the town.
Well, if I find him before you, I'll bring him I'll bring you his head.
Well, and you guys sort of step through another hatch into another area in the back. And he says, "Yeah, I was trying to keep an eye on you boys and sort of keep a low, help you keep a low profile and whatnot. I thought we were doing pretty good there for the longest time, but then I got to communicate. I think that's what got intercepted. So when I got the communication, they communicated from Master Coda. I thought he had died.
Also, Jedi Master Stas Ali fell on Dantooine as well.
Yeah, I know. She came to the settlement to talk to me.
And you pointed her in the direction of us then?
Yeah.
Well,
what she was supposed to do was get you out of there. And I see she succeeded, but I guess she had to give her life in the process, huh?
Hendrik will just look at Hayes, but not say a word.
Poor old Fallon's gonna see Hayes bristle, and those reoccurring nightmares will just kind of like pass over his face, and he'll just shut the fuck up. I don't want anything to do with this conversation, will be the expression on his face.
Yeah, he looks at you and says, "Yeah, seeing someone die like that, die like I felt her die. Yeah, they can't be easy. He must have just barely got away." So
H won't say anything.
Anyway, as you eventually you come to another door, is that you guys walking through uncomfortable silence for just a minute or two. He comes up to the door, keys in a code, and a sensory probe of a security droid pops out of the wall, scans him, looks at the two of you, looks back at him and says, who are these two? He says, "They're friends." "You don't have any friends, Fallon." He's like,
Hey, she'll cover up his
from
face.
From Dantooine. He looks back at them and says, "Oh, those two." I'll unlock the door. And the eye retracts back into the wall, and the door, you hear it actually unlocked.
Are we being expected?
Well,
maybe a little bit more accusatorially than he wants.
He looks back at you and says, "Well, you announced yourself," as he walks through the door. And as you walk in, you're basically in what looks like it's a big cargo area, probably a supply depot type thing. There's an old school airlock door as big as this room on one wall. This room's probably 3 stories tall. It's mostly cleared out, but there are a few makeshift computer workstations set up, and based on what you're seeing on the screens, it looks like it's tapped into the station's security. There's probably 25 people in here, operating in a very precise manner. They're very organized, gathering information. There's a couple of tables off to one side where there's someone doing maintenance on some weapons, rifles, blaster pistols, stuff like that. Some body armor that's actually on racks on the side of the room, not just scattered on the floor. And the stuff looks well used, but well maintained as well. And as you walk in, you see there's one other figure, an older man that turns to look at you. And he has white hair. Oddly enough, a beard very similar to Rafe's, but it's white. And he has a bandage across his eyes, like almost like what Hayes wears. And he looks over, and you once again feel those eyes on you that you felt earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of smiles and he says, "Welcome to my control hub, gentlemen. It's good to have a couple more of the old Jedi around."
He visibly bristles at the J word.
The figure tilts his head just a little bit as if listening to something. He says, "That doesn't make you feel good, does it, Hayes?"
No, it makes me itch.
I can't blame you, Ben. You weren't raised in the order. Had to grow up on your own. We did our best to make sure you had a few things to. We kept an eye on you, I should say. So me and you already know. You already know Fallon over here. So he was tasked to keep an eye on you too.
Master Coda, how are you?
I'm getting by. He motions to his face. He says, "But not without a few scars."
Without looking at my data pad, he'll which will be in his satchel. See, she'll just put his hand in his satchel, and he'll just key in Fallon gives his regards, and we are meeting with KOTA ... send.
Saying that to your mom?
Yeah. She'd be pissed if we didn't say anything. The next text will be like,
Okay.
I have your riskettes. Riscates, excuse me.
Riscate, yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is Ron Kota. He after they secure the door behind you, he says, we need to sit and have a conversation.
I'll walk over to him and I'll go up and shake his hand.
Okay. He'll shake yours too.
He kind of fancies himself an adult now. He's not a superior anymore.
Yeah, you get that feeling of emotional detachment. If you sort of sensed
attachment or detachment?
Or detached, sorry, emotional detachment. Yes, that was the word I was looking for. As you shake his hand, as if everything he's putting on it's for show. As if this is a man who is burned out.
You seem tired, sir.
And there for just a moment, that sort of breaks through with that statement. He says, "You have no idea."
I'd like to know.
Well, when you've lived to see most of your friends, your compatriots, your allies, your mentors, your heroes struck down, and live in a galaxy where, well, the only real heroes left are burnout old men and their apprentices.
Or young, vicious men who don't like the word Jedi anymore.
Yeah, the Order's basically dead.
I'll tell you what we're here for.
I understand.
I'm here for a good blaster rifle. Tindrick has a way with droids and mechanics that I can only aspire to, and I can't imagine. I'm here with my mother. I'm quite certain she says hello, and I need information on Mistress Jade.
Mistress Jade. He looks over at Fallon, and he just sort of looks at him and says, "Mistress Jade." And Fallon says, "Yeah, she was the one who dropped him off on Dantooine. She was the one who left me there to watch over him."
Lady Jade Yanabase.
Yes. Yeah, Jedi Knight Jade Yanabase. Yes, I knew her well. I know her well. She didn't want you. She sensed in you as a child that you were very special, both of you. That's why she was, she also has a bit of a, very few Jedi have it, but the ability to see future possibility. And she saw the future that may have been before you had your training proceeded when it did. And it did not end well. But
I'm sorry. I was going to say
when he says but, he pauses for a moment, comes back and says, but she wanted you protected. But she also knew it couldn't be her because she would lead the enemy to you if she were there. So she had me lead my apprentice. And he motions to Fallon.
Apprentice? I slowly look over at Fallon.
Yeah. He sort of shrugs. He says, not all Jedi's focuses are in combat and whatnot. Some of us have different talents. He motions to Tindrick. He says, there's Jedi mechanics. And he says, and he sort of points to himself too. He says, some people have a way with droids and machines. Some people have more of a way with people and lightsabers and whatnot.
Master Coda, may I request that you evaluate me?
He looks at you and looks you up and down. He said, I could. But it's not really my place.
I am. Okay.
Yeah, he says, I could, but it's not my place.
Oh, dude, no, don't do it. Oh.
Hold it in, brother. Hold it in. And Tindrick will actually just put in a hand on Haish's shoulder.
Okay. All right. Oh, thank you. My heart was racing there for a moment. I'll just for the sake of the audience's purposes, the audience's theater of the mind.
So what is Heish thinking at that moment exactly?
Yeah, I'll do a soliloquy, of course.
Lay it out.
A lot of this, a lot of puzzle pieces are just kind of like falling into place for Heish all at once, very perfectly, perfectly. And he just built a new lightsaber that he has only kind of basked in its golden glow only once since he's actually constructed it. And some of the, I suppose, semi-institutionalized young Jedi apprentice in him kind of just slid out and asked a very distinguished, very astute Jedi Master who was very well respected at the time to evaluate him. And Heish almost just attacked him. Because they like the feeling of was building up. I can only describe this from a martial artist sort of perspective. From my kendo days, you have two kenshi square off, and it's this chess game. Your swords are quivering with the adrenaline going back and forth, and it's that rising bit where you can't hold it in anymore, and you just go, and you just that zen non-thinking moment. And Heish, it was coming up, and his heart leapt into his throat as soon as Tindrick's hand touched his shoulder. It came back down because he was almost reaching for his lightsaber, and I was about to attack an unarmed old man in hopes that he would evaluate his swordsmanship. It's again vicious young men who don't like the word Jedi anymore, and Heish is starting to come down, and the feeling, if anyone is sensing anything, that there was a lot right there for just a few moments. But Heish will just slowly come down off of that adrenaline and force high. You're muted, by the way, Keith. You're muted.
So yeah, there we go. Now I'm back. As you're sitting there, all of this going through your head, these emotions playing across your face. The master looks at you and he says, I understand that you have this need to know where you stand as well. I won't call you a Jedi, but it is not my place to evaluate. Well, with the fall of the order, the old master system's gone. There's, I could evaluate my apprentices, but I've not been around you enough to know where you were, even a year ago. So I would have to defer to someone who knows. He looks over and says, Fallon, you want to take this one? He sort of smiles. He's like, I suppose I can. And Fallon steps forward and reaches under his tunic. He pulls out a fairly slender, small, looks like basically like almost like a spanner. And he reaches into his pocket. He attaches a piece to the bottom and a piece to the top. He flips a switch and a green lightsaber blade pops out. He says, I was seeing you work out, Aish. Let's see where you're at.
I would like for you to place me in harm's way.
Place you in harm's way?
Because I'm about to place you in harm's way.
If you wish. Make a perception roll. Let's see where you're at. So, Tendrick, are you going to get involved with this at all?
I hope Hayes asked for him to be evaluated.
Okay.
Tendrick has no business interfering with this. And even if Tendrick was being evaluated, he still wouldn't interfere because that is an honorable 1v1 duel.
Perception. Ooh. Oh my. Okay. 17.
All right. You're able to actually make the first attack.
Fallon will be getting Haish's best kendo, I will tell you. This is now a kendo seminar with an 8th degree black belt. I'm being tested.
Okay.
Can I use my concentration for this?
Yes, you can.
My is that sensor control?
Control.
You honestly be stupid not to in this situation.
I know. 16 on my sense.
Okay.
Or, excuse me.
That will be enough.
Control. Thank you.
That will be enough. Yes.
All right. All right. Okay. Make my first attack with my bucket of lightsaber dice. Oh my goodness. That is a lot of sixes. Excuse me.
Yeah, you got to start counting now.
I know, right? Oh God. Okay. Shit.
Yeah, this is one of those games where if you've ever played as a old school D&D wizard, those skills come in handy.
With a 48,
All right.
Hazel just throw himself at him.
Okay. You throw yourself at him and you then as your blade comes forward in what is very much a masterful stroke, with the concentration behind it, your form is absolutely perfect. But Fallon actually blocks it barely. He blocks it maybe 6 inches from actually landing, but he's able to get his lightsaber up and in play between the two of you. You actually feel his concentration radiating off him as well as your own as he riposts. So make me a
additional attack.
melee parry.
Oh yeah, no, my melee pair. I do have that now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and you used your concentration for your attack, right?
I did.
Okay.
It doesn't carry over from my melee parry.
Nope.
It does not. Okay.
It's a separate skill.
Let's do this properly then. Oh, that's actually really good. 25.
All right. He rolled a 22. So
Ooh.
tell me how you barely get your lightsaber back in place for his attack.
When he riposts, Heish is going to do kind of a window guard kind of
Okay.
Sweep. We're actually going to take his tip and actually going to put it over my left shoulder and set myself up for basically an attack in his midsection.
Okay. All right. Make your attack.
Right. All right, so if I'm using concentration just on my lightsaber, it carries over for this scene or this combat?
This combat.
Yes. This combat. Oh, okay. That is 36 for my attack.
All right. So as you set yourself up very well for your attack, and as you come in to basically land your blow, he has to scramble to get out of the way and barely gets his blade in line. He actually rolled a 36 as well, but defender wins.
I'm not trying to kill Fallon. I'm trying to scare him.
It's basically as you get in close to actually possibly scaring him, as I said, he actually is able to spin himself out of the way and barely not with tipping your lightsaber out of line. You actually store a bit of his tunic, leaving a bit of burned material. That smell rises up into the air, and as he does, he deactivates his lightsaber. He says, "You've done pretty good, especially with no one to train you." Or have you had practice with someone recently? Because there's moves there's moves that aren't written in that book.
Most of that's me, but I am loath to share any of my personal experimentation.
I understand. So just a tad bit of a different style in there. It seems like. And he looks over at his master, Master Kota, who sort of nods a little bit. He looks over at Tendrick and says, "Do you want to test your mettle as well, young man?"
I just recently made the lightsaber. I have had no practice with it whatsoever.
Well, congratulations. Eventually you'll be get that, especially around him. And he claps his hands and says, "Masterfully played, young man. Masterfully played."
I'll deactivate my lightsaber now.
So you're needing droid parts.
Talk to Tendrick.
And you're wanting some a blaster rifle is what you were saying?
A nice one.
A nice one. When we all want nice ones.
Well,
I'm just saying,
passably nice. I know they could be found. They could be placed in better hands.
Yeah. There's plenty of As you know, the Empire is basically locked down just about all kinds of trade and contraband. That where we used to be able to get some pretty good stuff. They're still able to get a little bit here and there.
Is this Coda speak?
But yeah, he says, but let me see what I can find.
I will take whatever you can offer.
Yeah. And he walks over and says, hey, Kraken, what do we got over here for these young men, rifle-wise? And a middle-aged guy turns around and looks and says, well, I got a couple of some blaster rifles over here I could probably part with one or two. I mean, I don't want to part with a lot of them because, well, we need them.
I only need one.
Okay. He hands you a piece of I'm looking for the one I'm looking for here real quick. It's a blaster rifle.
Hey, she'll just rattle off. If you have an Aerotech sniper rifle with a tri-light scope, I'll take that.
Don't we all wish we had one of those? He actually laughs at that.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
Hey,
he said, I would love to get my hands on one of those. Let's see, what do I have? I've got a couple of Imperial issue rifles here.
Oh, Bob, come on now.
Well, I mean, it's right now they're about the best you can get your hands on.
All right.
That's the problem. Let me see. Where is that? Where are the weapons again? I may have gone too
Dear
far.
brother, we're going to have to go to hut space if I want an Aerotech sniper rifle.
Yeah, probably. And then you're
going to need a sniper rifle for. If anything, I need a sniper rifle while you're up there chopping off limbs.
I didn't say it was for me.
Let's see.
Don't assume, brother.
Well, you're the one saying for me to get an Aerotech sniper rifle.
Well,
so
I want one, but it will be in your hands most of the time.
Okay, here are the equipment.
Never for a moment think that I am not going to connive for you, my younger dear baby brother.
I mean, if you just want a decent carbine, I've got E11s all over the place.
Well, I don't want an E11.
Well,
something not so pedestrian.
Let me see if I can dig up.
All right.
He goes over first digging into a few things.
Hey, she's gonna steal a few moments to look at his data pad and see if Mom got back to us.
She actually did send a message back to me and says, very funny.
I'm going to take a selfie with a very serious look on my face and with the caption, I am not fucking with you.
Yeah, well, as you do, you realize that you can't.
Oh, really? I can't. Oh.
Yeah, it won't send out that.
Oh, fair. Then I'll just send the message. I'm serious. Fallon says hello, and Master Coda is right here. I can touch him.
And you actually, it takes a moment.
Does she actually call me?
Well, it takes a moment, and then she messages back and says, "I can't call you. Where are you?"
I think we're safe. We are in a locked down garage within walking distance of the pub.
Well, okay. She messages back to me and says, I'm getting a bad feeling about this.
So am I. We'll be back shortly.
Okay. This guy that he called Kraken comes back and says, here, I've got this.
What am I looking at?
It's a EPX7. It's a hunting blaster called a Predator.
Ooh.
It actually has this specific setup. Has it's a longer rifle. It has dual laser targeting system, which basically means that it triangulates. So it actually gives you +2 to fire control. So +2 to your attack with it, basically. And it does 7d damage. So
how much do you want for it?
He's like, these things aren't cheap, kid.
I know they're not cheap. What do you want for it?
He looks over at Coda, and Coda just nods. He says, "Okay, I can sell it to you for 7,200."
Hang on here.
I'll look it up.
No, I'm messaging you directly.
Yeah. Can Tindrick see anything inherently wrong with this rifle?
Mm-hmm.
No, it looks like it's in perfect condition. In fact, it looks very, very well maintained.
Haish is going to say, do you guys eat well here in this dugout?
Not really.
I have a garden on my ship. If I brought you some groceries, would you knock off a couple 100 credits? They're hand grown.
Kraken looks at Coda, and Coda looks at Fallon. And Fallon said, "This kid's always had a green thumb." Okay, tell you what, for some fresh produce, we'll get to you for 65. How about that?
I can do that.
65
Fallon,
fresh produce.
Fallon, you with me. Tindrick, fill out a receipt for these boys. And I'm going to go get the groceries.
Fallon actually speaks up and says, "Hey, I think Tindrick was looking for some droid parts, weren't you?"
Yeah, he's staying here. Fallon, you're coming with me.
Okay.
I'm going to need more than 2 hands for this.
Okay, so you guys head out. Okay, Tindrick.
Looking around, does it look like the place is well maintained and well powered?
It looks like they have tapped into a power junction. The power lines they're using are makeshift, but they look like they've been, at least the connections you can see, look like they've been actually done professionally. Although you do have like cables and stuff sort of hanging. It's not necessarily what you would necessarily do if you had the proper time, like putting stuff in conduit and stuff like that. But they're getting clean power. They're probably, if they have it set up right, it's probably not even registering on the station's energy use too much. More than just maybe might be show up as a glitch where they have an extra rig. With your basic knowledge of the technical, so I'm just going to make you roll because you have a high enough level for that. This looks like it was set up with stealth in mind, but with the intention of needing to have good communications and good connections. But you do also notice as you're looking around that there are transmission jammers. So you're not going to be able to like send not able to send a text burst out, but you would not be able to send a voice communicate.
Right. That's why he couldn't take the picture or make a call.
Right.
I was actually looking into those for our own droids, but they're a little cost prohibitive as well as restricted.
Yeah. So they have some stuff. Actually, Kraken actually leads you over to another little area that's sort of sectioned off with some crates, and they have shelves with several different droid components and parts, and a couple of actually already complete droids. He introduced you to a young man named Gil. He's a human. Looks like he's probably maybe 17. And he is currently about elbow deep into a droid's guts. And up back to says, "Hi, what's up?" Kraken said, "This guy here wants to look at some droid parts." He's like, "Oh, what do you need? What do you need?" He pulls his hands out and washes off the lubricant off of his hands. this has got a bad motivator in the near the central processor there, so it's a bit of a hassle to get to. But
Kendrick will actually take a look at it.
What you are looking at is a heavily modified droid. This is not by any ways a standard droid at all. This thing might at one point have vaguely resembled a protocol droid, maybe. But this thing's been armored up. It's got, based off what you're looking at, it's probably got, looks like quadanium shells on it and hidden blasters in the recessed compartments on the arms. It's almost like he's trying to put together a droid that's going to pass as a protocol droid, but be able to actually like surprise someone, like maybe assassinations possibly.
Can I see what he's trying to screw with right now? Because he was saying it was hard to get to.
If you get on there and look, it's actually, there's a, that up in that, there's a part, a regulator near the central core of most of the protocol droids that keeps them from moving in threatening ways. Obviously, protocol droids are supposed to be passive. They're not supposed to be combative. And there's actually on top of the programming, there's actually a physical governor effectively that makes them not be able to move very fast. It's why they generally walk in a very shuffling manner. They don't necessarily run per se. And he's probably trying to get that governor out. Problem is where it's actually set, unless you completely disassemble the droid's torso, it is he almost has to have tentacles for arms to get to it.
Is it something, okay. Tindrick knowing what he could do, as well as having the innovative tech and the concentration. Is it something that he thinks he could get to?
Have you picked up telekinesis yet?
Yes.
You could probably use telekinesis as hands and make a roll for your technical skill with droid repair and get that out.
Okay. So what all do you want me to roll?
So make a roll for alter first off for your telekinesis.
$16.
Okay, that's definitely enough. You're able to feel the part in the force. So then do your skill roll.
Okay, you said droid repair?
Yeah, droid repair.
Is actually, so, okay. This is the first time using one of these. I have droid engineering.
Yeah.
So when I do a droid repair or droid programming, I get the droid engineering dice on top of that?
No, droid engineering is an advanced skill.
Mm-hmm.
So if basically, no, you know what? Yes, you do. Because it's an advanced skill. It's considered part of the skill. So yeah, you get those dice as well.
Okay. That's what I thought. Because I know if I do just a droid engineering skill, I don't get the repair or programming dice.
Yeah.
I thought if I did the base skill, I get the advanced skill on top of it.
Yes. I will. Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll do that. That's actually correct. Actually.
Oh, that's a lot of sixes.
Mm-hmm.
37.
All right. So it takes you a moment of, you basically close your eyes and the kid looks up at you and says, looks over at Kraken and says, "What's he doing?" And Kraken looks at you and says, "I don't know exactly." And then just after they say that, the part comes floating out of the droid chassis. And at that point, take it away. What do you do with it?
Well, he'll, in his stereotypical smartassery self, he's going to work, like, he's going to be like, let me take a crack at it. And he'll fill it with the force. He'll dig in there. He'll pull it out. And he'll do like the whole, like, he's going to pull it out and he's going to like look at it in the light.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you were looking for, right?
Yeah. And you actually hear a laugh, by the way. And Master Kota is like probably 20 feet away, and he sort of looks over his shoulder and he says, show off. But hey, and at that point his face really goes serious. He says, be careful doing that on this station. You get too loud with that kind of stuff, and there's those that can hear.
I know. Well, I forgot I show off just the once.
Yeah. So, and the kid looks at you and says, well, hey, I have this other droid back over here that I really can't get to. He starts going through stuff that he can't get to without like 3 days worth of work of disassembling the torso and such. That could you just like put that stuff together with your mind or what? And of course, Kota says, no, he can't. There's a reason why I don't do that for you too. And he says, yeah, it's because you can't.
Oh, ooh.
This is a smart mouth kid, obviously, but he also knows what he's talking about. Basically, what you can tell,
right?
Because he immediately he's like, yeah, that's the governor right there. So at that, he actually closes the droid up and actually reaches to the back of the neck and manipulates something, and the droid's eyes light up, and it looks over at him and says, "What is your command?" And he says, at the moment, I want you to run over there to the wall, then run back. He nods, says, yes, master. And this protocol droid runs. It actually looks really, really odd because this thing's it's straight back and it's got its hands straight out and it's doing the whole run like that, it runs there and turns and runs back. Yeah. And he comes back and says, perfect. Good job. And Kraken says, okay, what do you need? Just for that. He says, yeah, the kid says, yeah, here, take what you need. What are you wanting? What are you wanting stuff for what are you wanting for your droids?
Well, and Tindrick's going to be blunt because in his mind, they're about as safe as they're going to be where they are at the moment.
Okay.
And Fallon's a friend. Kota's a master. They should be safe.
Yeah.
So he's going to say, I have a battle core.
Okay.
I need a chassis to put it into. While I wouldn't mind the intimidation of just having a combat droid chassis, that little setup you just pulled off is kind of slick.
Oh, okay.
You have another one of those in the making?
I've got one that's partially put together. He goes and actually opens up one of the shipping containers that's there, and a endoskeleton comes tumbling out, and a pile of armor and external pieces and weapons mounts and stuff like that just sort of falls to the floor. He says, well, needs a little more work than a little.
I can do the work.
It is what it is the frame for it. Let me see here. Find that page once again. The frame for this thing is not that one.
An HK-47.
HK-47, don't you wish?
I would prefer an HK-50, but hey.
Well, the basic core is, of all things, a DR-16.
Oh, well.
But what you have, the external parts, it looks like the endoskeleton has been modified to accept an outer shell that is more along the lines of a let's see, more along the lines of a GI-1 information analysis droid. So it's basically a battle droid that appears to be an information droid. So, or a, as a lot of people refer to them as archive droids.
I'll actually pull out my comlink thing, and actually I'll send a message to Haish.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, do we want to be overt or incognito with this droid?
I think I like incognito. What? And you'll hear the smile in Haish's voice, like, what kind of goodies do they have?
I'm still hashing it out. I'll show you when you get back.
All right. Fallon and I are almost at the ship anyway.
Yeah.
We've been talking and walking this whole time. So, Keith, it's up to you whenever you want.
That's it. That's fine. So, I'll tell it to you momentarily.
Tindrick will look at the kid and look at this pile of machinery and half-constructed everything. I was like, is this the whole blueprint, so to speak?
Pretty much, yeah. This is everything I've gotten together for the whole thing. It's got the, it's obviously has all the motivators. The armor, even though it's been molded to look like an information droid, it's actually the same Durasteel shell that the standard destructor droids actually had. Just been modified to its look. Sorry, plasteel armor is what it had. I don't have the grenade launcher. The blaster rifles, you can probably, I was actually modifying these two. He reaches over and actually picks up a couple of, they're basic E11s. Because we have so many of them. I was modifying them to actually be hidden inside the arms. They would actually fire through the palms. But yeah, the grenade launcher I don't necessarily have. Vocabulary is a little wonky. I was actually putting in a data port for it. Data port interrogator. So, we can actually, I don't know. He looks over at Kraken and says, how would you think this thing's worth? And he's like, well, normally those things go for, he actually has data pad himself looking at it. He says, with fully equipped 1370, 13725, but seeing it's in pieces and it's missing the grenade launcher, I'd say, and the fact that he helped you out with that whole thing, says, yeah, don't forget that part. Says, okay.
And
8,000?
And like while they're trying to like barter between themselves in this, Tinder's just gonna be like, I do. Well, actually, let me make sure I get these numbers right before I say it out loud. It's like, I do have a spare EG6 or a spare XLT14. If you guys needed the help here.
XLT14, those are labor droids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they modified at all?
They have been modified with the what the crack is it? The ones where they can't be shut off by anyone but certain personnel.
Okay.
And the labor droid has been installed with the cable winch.
Okay. And those, let's see here.
The gonk I had, I was actually in the midst of putting in the life support systems as well as the heater elements, so they could be more of a sustaining support system if we needed them.
Okay. I'll tell you what. You say that one that we need a labor droid. We do a straight trade. What do you think?
I mean, considering the labor droid's about 10K stock.
Yeah, labor droid stock is, I was just looking at it, 96.
Yeah.
So, and we can throw in a few pieces to, we could throw in the two modified blaster rifles, and I don't know, What else you got over there, kid? Kid's like, well, let's see here. What do I have over here? I've got, oh no, that's a little too much. Yeah, that'll be a little bit too much. I do have, well, I'm playing around with this thing over here. And, well, it's, I don't know how effective it's going to be on a basic droid. But it might be useful. He actually pulls a box out. He said it's designed to slot into the cargo space for the droid when it's popped up. Basically, a little 6 kilogram box. And he says, but when it's activated, it's a sensor jammer.
That would be helpful.
Basically, it's a sensor countermeasure package. It doesn't cover a very large area. I think it's like 20 meters. So it wouldn't necessarily help with your ship per se, for instance. But say if you're like moving through an area and you're trying to avoid sensors, I mean, and you got something they're going to pick up on, that might actually be useful for you. So what do you think?
I think it sounds good. So I'll give you guys a labor droid. You'll give me this blueprint full of parts.
Okay.
As well as this sensor jammer array.
I think that'll work. So.
And the rifle.
Well, the rifle was your deal.
Oh, I know.
This is my deal.
Oh, okay. We're doing this separate now. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's we can do that. Yeah. No problem. So yeah. Yeah. They'll crate everything up and start get it into a box. At which point, Kraken starts looking at that and starts sort of he sort of and the kid's like, what? He's like, how are we going to get that through the station to the ship? He's like, well, if we don't pick up the main corridors, they're going to look at it, and they're going to, every course that guy's going to want to look at it when they pop it open and see the mechanics in there. They might like, well, hey, it's a repair thing, but there's happen to be somebody who actually knows about droids. They realize that endoskeleton is a combat droid endoskeleton. They might ask questions. So, any ideas?
Kendrick's like actually trying to think because I'm trying to think right now.
That's okay. So Kraken thinks to himself for a minute and says, well, what I could do is I have a cousin who works in over at the port on the port side of the station. I might be able to grease his palm a little bit and get slipped into and listed as replacement parts for your ship. But usually, I mean, okay, he's my cousin, but that doesn't really mean much. So I'm not going to pay him. So probably a couple hundred credits.
I can swing a couple hundred credits.
Okay, we can work it out then. So okay, so as you guys are wrapping that up, Aish, on your walk back to the ship, you said you were talking.
Fallon and I have been walking and talking this whole time.
Okay.
I like your footwork, Fallon. That's very crisp.
Yeah, well, you weren't the only one who was practicing, but Mistress Jade specifically forbade me to teach you fighting. She was terrified that, well, with as she put it, with your temper and your sense of righteousness, that you would lash out at someone for insulting your mother or beating up your brother and, well, expose you.
Do you blame me?
Well, no.
I hope she doesn't blame me.
I don't think she does. She was, she always intended to come back.
When she was good and damn ready, I suppose.
Well, when she could. So you're going to Zillows too? How did you come up with the idea of going to Zillows too?
The Force told me, and I believe I saw her in a vision with a handful of other masters there. I don't feel comfortable being that Jedi are grouping together. This, well, I saw Lord Vader on Ord Mantell, and when there are 3 apprentices, and we only give off so much of a field, and someone that potent can see that. I don't see how masters could mask themselves if they're grouping together like this. We should be in hiding, and this is not hiding, Fallon.
Well, they couldn't without help.
Help. All right then.
Yes. They're well, I don't know this for sure because it's been a while since I've actually spoken with them. But from what I understand, they were in contact with a group of Force users that refer to themselves as the Matakai.
All right.
Group of Force adepts, and apparently they have the ability to mask or to dampen a person's appearance in the Force.
Force silhouette of some kind.
Yes.
As we enter the hangar, hey, she'll go, you want to talk to Mom?
I'll speak with her. But...
Well, she doesn't believe me that you and you and Granddad are here, so you might catch a hand.
So the as you get to the bottom of the ramp, your mother regally comes strolling down and looks. As you know, she has that look on her face like that when you would tell a fib and she knew you were fibbing, and she was about to expose you for fibbing as when you were very young.
Mm-hmm.
She has that look on her face as she comes down the ramp. And as she gets down and her eyes light upon Fallon, she stops and looks and says, "Fallon, I thought you died."
We're going to have this conversation inside.
Okay. Good idea.
I kind of just like motions Fallon, get up the ramp.
Yeah.
And I'll
she motions you up. And when she gets inside, she looks at him and says, "I thought you died." And he says, "I almost did." And then he basically explains how when he was in his shop, and the Jedi had appeared and the night before and told him that he was there with a message. And I sent her up the road to your homestead with the idea she was going to, leave, and she's going to leave with you. At which point, Yanni looks at Haish, sort of sad, with a sad look on her face, but doesn't say anything.
Haish just dismisses himself with the awkward silence to get his produce. That he doesn't say a damn thing.
And basically, so as you walk out of earshot, you basically hear him explaining that morning when he woke up, there were 3 men in the city in the trading center square, basically, yelling for people to come out that there was going to be a flyover. That they needed to see what was going on. They needed to look at these things. Look at the glory of the empire. And as soon as people started coming out, these men Their faces went hard, and they pulled out blaster pistols and started shooting at people. The people panicked and went and hid. And one of them started frantically speaking into a comm link saying, "We're being attacked by rebels." And then ran away. And not 5 minutes after that, the TIE fighters came swooping in and just leveled the trading post. He got away because he was actually going towards where his daughter was, setting up the fruit stand that she liked to work, but he wasn't able to get there. He actually had to duck and actually hid. Well, not hid per se, was actually knocked down and was pinned to the ground by a speeder that's a motivator had blown out by a shot. And by the time he was able to get off of him, well, the damage was done. And then he happened to look up and he saw that Nubian. He knew that you guys were safe. So, and with that, since Haish was walking back towards his produce, let's have a soliloquy from Haish about what
since I just eavesdropped, basically.
Well, what's been going, where his mind is at this point. Basically, this is going to be closing soliloquies, basically.
Okay.
Because we're about 15 till the end of the time frame anyway.
Haish is very much, this cannot register on an emotional level. He's keeping his surface thoughts to himself. He's keeping his emotions in check. He slipped up earlier, but he's very tight-leashed and tight-lipped on it now. He's picking his best crop. Is like tomatoes, cucumbers, spinach, that sort of thing, or what would be the equivalent. He checks his personal bank account and makes sure that he's got 6,500 credits for that rifle. Maybe a few hundred extra for spare energy cells for it. And he's going over what he wants to say to Kota before they leave. He kind of wants to learn any handful of any meditation techniques from that Kota can just pass on to him, or and the knowledge of concealing himself. He feels that he would be able to put to good use, protecting himself and as well as his family. He is quite confident in Tindrick's knowledge to get what they think they need to be safe. Haish does take the information regarding the rebel attack on Dantooine. He's not registering it outwardly, but it pains him. But he still seems resolute in his, we're not picking sides. I'm not picking sides. And I truly hope that he doesn't sway his brother's thinking in, well, perhaps he wants to join the rebellion now. Well, we shall see. And he gets very fearful for a few moments that he think that might be a decision that would split his family up. And anyone who's sensing him might feel a terror from down the hallway, but it disappears as quickly as it came. But it's back to, I need to find Mistress Jade. When I find Mistress Jade, and I will wring from her why she stayed away for so long, and if she had chosen anyone else but him, And then a little bit of jealousy creeps into his heart, like some cold, icy fingers of jealousy creeps into him, and he just goes over his. He says, "I am her pupil. How could she pick anyone else but me?" And then we'll see almost like a just giant gears click into place. Like, I will wring the answer from her lips. I cannot assume anything right now. She will tell me, and then I will decide.
Okay. Yeah, very, very well.
As he's going to take his crate of vegetables back and say, "We need to bring 2 labor droids back to the hangar. Tindrick has made a deal." Oh, excuse me, just simply 1 of the labor droids.
Okay. Your mom nods and you'll leave, prepare with the labor droids for operation. He says, "Yes, ma'am." And as that's going on, one of the things you may notice, by the way, as H sort of brings that thing in, as he walks into that central living area, these 2 are sitting probably 3 feet apart, a very appropriate distance for 2 individuals to sit.
Does this sound feel like an intervention?
No.
Okay.
It's more like you may pick up something because these emotions running through you are so powerful. And with the Force the way it is, you walk into the room and you feel there's a bit of a tension in the room, not the kind of tension you would expect from 2 people who are staring daggers at each other, but 2 people who thought they had lost each other. Sort of that lingering what might have been that may have ran through their heads at some point. And you think maybe there's a little more between these 2 than just a passing acquaintance. So
Hayes will just stand there with the crates in his hand, and he'll take all of this in. And as soon as they look at him, he'll just go, "I'm going to leave you here, and I'm going to take the labor droid with me." And Fallon will know, man to man, he'll know exactly what he's doing.
Okay.
And I'll go back to the garage alone, and that'll probably be the end of his scene.
Yeah. So as that scene begins to unfold, as you leave the hangar there, back at Tindrick, what do we see in Tindrick's mind with what's happened tonight with the revelations of people from the past and all the whatnot?
Well, as previously stated, Tindrick was not as deep into the Force side of things as Hayes was. He just knows they got left, people died. He wasn't like, he wants to find Mistress J just like Hayes does, but he's not as heavily invested into it. It's kind of like, okay, if we find her, we'll figure out something, but if we don't, well, pardon my French quite literally, but c'est la vie. It's just the way he thinks. He's not, if it's not his brother and it's not his mother, they're people. If they're friends, cool. If they're allies, cool. If they're enemies, don't fuck with me. But yeah, like, meeting Master Coda, which I think the last time he might have even seen this man, he was probably too young to really understand who was before him. So to him, it's just, oh crap, this is a master. Crap. What do I do now? Which is another reason why he kind of latched on to dealing with Kraken and the kid with the droid, because like, all right, that's my comfort spot. And then he got to show off a little bit, which like he hoped kind of gave brownie points to him getting what they wanted out of the deal. He has no idea how Mother is reacting. I mean, he assumes she's reacting positively, especially since they found Fallon again. And, you know, he missed Fallon because Fallon was the guy who taught him and who he got his part from, and he was a friend of the family, and he was family. But I mean, I don't know. Tindrick's a simple man, but yet he's not. Because he's also still seeing this as, we found people, but we have something to go do. We have kind of family here, but we got to go do this next part. So he's like, he's happy, but he's also kind of nonchalant. And he's also like, we got to go before the next hit of Hunt happens. And we got to deal with half metal face again. So I don't know. Like I said, Tindrick, I don't want to call him stoic because he's not, but at the same time, that's kind of how he is with everything right now. It's like, all right, cool. Good things happen for once, but we got to get to the next part.
All right. So as we back off of Tindrick's mind there, we find ourselves back in the main corridor of this of the public area as Haish is walking along with his crate of vegetables. In the middle of the crowd, you see two male figures wearing the white and green of Corellian security, and they're looking around, and one of them looks over at Haish and says, "Hey, you're the fellow that that Zena was saying wanted to talk to us." Or no, not Zena, the doc guy. Forget
Wes?
his name.
Hobby?
Yeah. They come walking over to you and says, so hey, nice to meet you. So what did you want to talk about? Did you have a complaint to file or something? Or
Oh, no complaint. I just wanted to thank you for looking for us, because looking out for us.
It's no problem at all. No problem at all.
I just wanted to thank you for doing your job.
So as you guys are speaking, and you're speaking to Wes, the fellow next to him sort of elbows Wes and sort of points with his chin further down the promenade area, and both your eyes turn. Well, both eyes, and then your face turns toward that area, and there's a group of about maybe 24 men dressed in the Corellian uniforms in very military crisp formation walking. And there's a figure in the middle of this group as if they're maybe escorting this guy. And he's dressed more of a civilian type, maybe, I mean, vaguely reminiscent of maybe monastic type clothing, or a person, a holy man of some type with them. His back is to you. But as they get to a certain point, you see a Duro step out and wave over. And you realize, H does, he's standing next to the hatch you guys had initially gone through. And as that figure, as the group gets there and that figure turns his head, you catch the profile of a face that is half mechanical, half covered in metal.
I dip back into the shadow.
He points, and these guys go into these Corellian security go into action and actions for perimeter. And Wes says, "I don't know what's going. That's not normal. We haven't been alerted to any kind of policing action here."
Please don't, gentlemen. Please
what do you
don't.
mean? And Hobby for the first time says, "Damned Imperials."
Yeah.
That's stormtrooper training.
I know. I will explain if you can get me out of here.
Okay. And they're like, they nod. And with that, we are going to say goodnight. The next session will begin with what happens now that the possible rebels that Tendrick and Haysh have been dealing with have possibly been discovered by, of all things, a Duro spy, if you will. What happens with the group spread out, one in the ship, one in the corridor, and one in with the rebels? Will they get back together again? Will they be able to get out of this without getting in the middle of a battle between two major political factions here? Will they be branded as terrorists, or will they turn their backs on the rebels and side with the Imperials? We'll find out in 2 weeks. Thank you very much, folks, for tuning in, and thank you, my players, and good night, and may the force be with you all.